I would like to take our indulgence because we still have a very important presentation, and is no other one than from our facilitator from the Standard Organization of Nigeria. These, I believe, SON and NAFDAC are one of the major agencies that has ensured the safety of products in Nigeria, and they ensure that we don't consume unhealthy products. So we need to give them the opportunity as well to come and have such discussion so that we have an idea on how they operate, so that we won't fall victim and be able to help us scale up our products. So please permit me to come to the podium here, our facilitator from SON, in person of Mr. Olubuade Alade Kazim.
Ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. We are from Standard Organization of Nigeria, and we are here to discuss the topic, local production as a backbone for thriving economic. Get involved. That's the topic that was given to us. But as it is, we'll be looking at this topic and try to do justice to this topic, and at the same time, we'll look at the regulatory requirement for your product. Because the essence why you are here is to get your product satisfied. So, and the idea behind this program is to do what is called retention of the labor force. Because in Nigerian economy, what we observe is that there is serious labor migration. I think the idea behind this program is to curb labor migration, that young talent should not leave this country on the ways of Java. That's why this topic was chosen, and that's why we decided that we want to do justice to this topic. But in the space of time given to me, we'll be discussing the topic and the regulatory requirement as far as SON is concerned for your product, so that your product can get certified. I'll start by way of introduction. What is a local production? Local production is any manufacturing activities where the raw material, the capital, all factors of production are situated within a particular geographical location. Are you getting it? Let me give you an example. If you are in this vicinity and you decide to produce anything within this vicinity, and the source of the material used in the production of that particular thing, or the source it within the material, the capital, the technology, the source it within these houses, that is what we mean by local production. And what we have observed, that it is the backbone of every economy, because local content help in the employment of labor. The number of labor force that SME is employing, when you aggregate it together, is more than what multinational can do. Because SME most of the time use manual labor, but multinational, they have automated their system. Even as people are using robotic, so they are driving human capital out of their own establishment because they want an automated process. It is you, the SME, that employ labor. So you are the backbone of the economy. The more you have local product manufacturers, you know SME, we find in our economy. That is how we can help in the issue of unemployment and what have you. For Nigeria, strengthening, mandate of Standard Organization of Nigeria. Our mandate are as follows: development of national standard. All product has a particular requirement. Are you getting me? You are producing water here in Ibadan. Somebody is producing water in Lagos. Somebody is producing water in Kano. Our mandate is that you producing water in Ibadan and somebody producing water in Ibadan must meet a minimum benchmark. Now that document called standard is a document that was formulated by the academic community, the industrial player, and SOM as a regulator. When we talk about standard, we are not the one that say this is what you should do. It is the industrial player and the academicians. They come together. The academicians will tell you this is what is available. This is the knowledge behind a particular thing. And the industrial player will tell you, okay, in this industry, at this particular time, is this thing obtainable? Is it not obtainable? Let me give you an example. Use your bottled water. You have standard for bottled water. Now, in that standard, there are so many parameters there. We have your pH. We have pH. We have microbial loads. We test whether there is microbe. We test whether there is microbes, if microbial load in the water. And we test, the manufacturer try to agree. And I think water, as far as knowledge is concerned, they will tell you that water is colorless, odorless, and water has a pH of 7. That is academics. Now, the industrial player will say, no, that if you tell us that we should get a pH of 7, you are driving us away from the market. That's why he will tell you that the location of his factory, the topography of the land, that there is no way in his factory he can get a pH of 7. Now the academic community and the industrial people, they will now discuss, they will now look for a tolerance limit for that value. Now academics tell us that for a pure water the pH is 7. Now the manufacturer is telling us by virtue of his own environment where he finds himself leaching as a factor that it is difficult for him to achieve a pH of 7. So both people will sit down, they will discuss it and they will agree. Now for that water now, we will not agree, we will not have a tolerance pH value that for everything you call pure water in Nigeria, pure drinkable water, not pure water for chemical research. Pure water for chemical research, I think non-negotiable, the pH is 7. But pure water for drinking water, because of the discussion between the manufacturers and the academicians, we now give a tolerance level that the pH for water in Nigeria, drinkable water, should be within 6.5 to 8. I get it. So that irrespective of the location of your factory, irrespective of the location of your factory, you now expect that so that you can meet the requirement. But as a manufacturer, that is why SON standard is called the minimum requirement. As a manufacturer, one thing comes to your mind: product identity. You want your product to be unique. So it is expected of you to have a standard for your product. That standard that will differentiate your product from that of your competitors. Fine? Because of the varieties we observe, we have to give a tolerance pH level. Now you will now decide, okay, for my product, this is the pH I want within that tolerance pH level, so that your product will be identically different from all other products. Let me give an example. There is a particular company that is also producing water, although it's not in Ibadan, you will see they have 2 or 3 different caps in their product. That 2 or 3 different caps you see in your product has different nutritional requirements because they observe the Nigerian audience. So they now challenge their product to meet the need of that Nigerian audience. Because every one of us, we need something, but our own health challenge will tell us that a particular thing is good, but because of your own health peculiarity, it might not be good for you. So that company identified that health challenge and now design different kind of product to address those health challenges. In some of the products, they increase the iron content because they discover that I am not mentioning them, because they discover that micronutrients, many of Nigeria's audience are lacking in those micronutrients, so they try in their own way to accommodate for it. Our mandate is also to satisfy your product. Under some, we have several certificates under some. We have SunCap certificate, we have ManCap certificate, we have PI, Product Identification Certificate. But as an SME, what is related to you is ManCap certificate and PI certificate. What do we mean by ManCap? ManCap is called Mandatory Conformity Assessment Program. We are not just satisfying your product, we are looking at the process of actualizing that product, the sequence in which you get towards your final product. Unlike other agencies that will just look at your product, is it okay, they will certify. Also understand that we are in the Ministry of Trade, we are not in the Ministry of Health. So that is why, by virtue of our approach, we tend to listen more and understand your angle. We look at your issues on the basis of the trade perspective. We look at the quality of your product, the performance of your product, and the safety of your product. Now, to certify your product, we will come for a quarterly inspection visit. If you want to get your product certified under some, we come for a quarterly inspection visit. What do we do in quarterly inspection visit? We look at the raw material. Let me give you one insight now. Somebody in the morning, somebody say she has so many dreams. Now how can she get funding and how will she identify the kind of dream to implement, to go to carry out? Now the woman responded by telling her that implementation which restricts your ideas. One thing you should understand is this: as a Gen Z that has so many dreams, you should relate those dreams with population dynamics. Those ideas of yours, you should interpret it in terms of population spread of your locality. Do you know one thing that disturbs an SME like you is that you concentrate more on your product and how to actualize the product design. That is what preoccupies your mind, the product design. But the important aspect of production that will get you frustrated is not even your product and product design. The important aspect of production that will get you frustrated is the logistic aspect, warehousing and logistic of your product. As an SME, the challenge you have, you don't look at it at the onset of conceptualization of the idea. The greatest problem as an SME is the logistic and the warehousing of your product. Let me give you an example. This bottled water. There are 2 bottled water in Ibadan here. But if you go back to the market, you will discover that the water selling in Ibadan province is water from Lagos. Why? Because people that design water production in Ibadan, they did not consider outward logistics when they are designing their product. Let me give you an example. In Lagos model, production of water is not part of, mostly they try to dissociate it from the logistic aspect. Many people that have this water company, their businesses, let me produce water. It is another people that is involved in the distribution of that water. That is why you see somebody in Lagos and somebody in Ibadan. If they have pure water company, somebody in Lagos will be doing well. It's not as if somebody in Ibadan is not producing good water, but because to him, he is also saddled with the responsibility of production and distribution. Why is that somebody in Lagos? His own business, let me produce, somebody else will distribute for me. That is why you see, because those companies you see distributing water in here in Ibadan, and they are not from Ibadan, because they have outsourced that logistic aspect of their production. And while you in Ibadan, as an SME, you are still battling with production and distribution. So you must, as you are having that idea, as you are ruminating over your idea, please look at what kind of logistic model do I want to take, consider. Once you get logistic right, once you get logistic right for your product, and you are able to design your product and start production, you will not have an issue. But if you take it as logistic is after the when you get to the people cost it, you will get frustrated. You also have to understand what is the population of your area. When they are talking the money, they say the man from Agro Bank of Agriculture, he said right in Okeogun, people are coming, foreigners are coming, they are going to the bush. Why will somebody leave this country and decide to go to Okeogun there and invest? He does not like you. He does not like Nigeria. But you understand Nigeria has one thing. Nigeria has population. And you as an entrepreneur, that is the first thing you must be thinking. Nigeria has population. What is the population of Nigeria? What is the dynamic spread of that population? How many women are in my area? How many young ladies, teenagers are in my street? How many married men are? So that is how you will be able to design your product to meet a particular need. If you go and design a product that in your immediate environment, the population that need that product is not there, you run into problem. Because the first consumer of your product is people in your neighborhood. Take a look at this thing. There's one thing that is common in this information. Predominantly, they are pharmacies. So the organizer of this program starts from its niche, its immediate environment. So you as an entrepreneur, you must understand the population spread of your organization, where you locate your product. If your product does not have population spread, you say I can locate anywhere, I will distribute to the market. It's not easy because of the challenge of logistics. I have seen it happen, and I have given you an example. This bottled water outside Ibadan are the ones flooding the market. Not because people in Ibadan does not know how to produce quality water, but because they have not get the logistic aspect of the production right. They have not outsourced logistics. So now to go to how do you get your product MANCAP certified? It's either ways. It's either we come to you first or you come to us first. But the best thing is that you come to us first with an application letter that Standard Organization of Nigeria or your state office, I want to be part of your MANCAP scheme. You write to the state coordinator that I want to be part of your MANCAP scheme. Now, in that your letter, you put your contact address. Now, once we see your letter, we look at the kind of product you have, because we classify product in SON into food and agro products, chemical products, mechanical products, electrical products, textile products, civil products. Now, when we see your letter, we'll be able to classify your product. But we don't do drugs, we don't do heavy metals. Are you getting me? We don't do drugs, we don't do heavy metal. Now, once you give us your letter, we look at the letter. Now, we reply you either via phone call or we write back to the address you put on your letter. Okay, we are going to come for inspection. The reason why we want to come for inspection, we want to identify the location and the size of the company. That will give us a mindset of how to categorize your company and how to relate with you. Are you getting me? Now, let me give you this example of this bottled water. There are many players in this industry. There are some players they use one machine. There are some players they use complete automated system. There's a company that I know, its production oil is bigger than this. And there's a company I know, the oil of its production oil is no more than this red carpet. Are you getting me? Now, what as somebody in the Ministry of Trade, what we are expected is, we are not to castigate, dehumanize this person on red carpet, because we understand life is a phase and a growing process. Our duty as Standard Organization in Nigeria is to help this man that the whole production size is on this red carpet to grow as that person that is using this old hall as his production facility. Now, how do we go about it? In our registration, in our visit, we concentrate for this man, we concentrate more on the product. Are you getting me? For this man, we concentrate more on the product. For that man that has the whole facility that looks like this, we concentrate more on the product and the process of the product. Do you get the information? Before you see a product, there is a process that leads to the production of that product. Let me give you an example. For this water, everybody from our O-level chemistry, they will tell you that filtration, to purify water, you have to do filtration. Now, that is the rudimentary knowledge. You have to filter your water. And I have told you that in chemistry, the ideal pH for water is 7. But by virtue of tolerance level, SON extended from 6.5 to 8. Are you getting it? I mean to 7.5. So that to a value that approximately it will be 7. Now, this man, all I'm after is in his product, residue must not be in the product. Color must not be in his product. Solid particle must not be in his product. His product must be clean, odorless, tasteless, and with a pH of 7. Are you getting it? pH of approximately 7. For that man that has a facility like this, I'm expecting an automated filtration techniques. This man is just having an idea, and because I know it's the backbone of the industry, he will employ more labor force. But the man that has this facility, he has automated this process with just a click of the button. The whole production cycle is completed, with or without human. And the government, what the government is that I must sustain the economy. So this man, what to tolerate him so that we want to tolerate him and encourage him so that he will get to the desired level where he's going. Because you and I agree that Rome is not built in a day. And your scripture has told us that it is the work of your hand God will bless. So if I frustrate him, if he stop production, what will God bless? So I have to encourage him to him business. So what I'll be more stringent on his product meeting the parameter and less stringent on the how he actualize that product, because I want to encourage him. Also, in the course of inspecting him on quarterly basis, I will look at his raw material stock, how he arrange his raw materials. For a water company, he will have packaging bag. How does he arrange those raw materials? He will have some filtrant that is using. Where does he keep it? Is it on the ground, on the bare floor, or on the pallet? You will also be looking at the hygiene of his environment. I also be looking at the safety, the way he designed his facility. Does this facility allow for the workflow process? Is it from process A to B? Is it movable? I also look at the environment, the work environment. While working, how does the staff feel? I also look at the health status of that staff office, because people that have health challenges that are communicable are not expected to work in any food establishment. Let me give you an history of cholera in the past. The documented cases, the world first documented case of cholera was documented from a lady that is a street vendor. This lady is a street vendor. She has cholera, but she has not come down of cholera, and she's selling her product. People are buying from her. Because at times you may have an infection or a disease, but by virtue of your immune system, you will not come down of that particular disease, but it's in your system. Now, this person, when he wash, erosion will take his waste into the stream. Now, people buy from her, and people in that area also drink stream water. So in the process, saliva and any of the contents will enter his product. So when a research and epidemiological study was carried out, they discovered that people before her are healthy. People after her are feeling sick, coming down of cholera. So when they do the diagnosis, they observe, okay, they now told her she is the point of contact, she should stop selling. So that's how the history, the first identification of the word cholera comes about. That sickness called cholera. That's how they identify. Now you see, the health status of your workforce is so important to us. You must tell us, you must give us a medical fitness test that this person is fit, not just the summary check. You must be able to tell us this is the plasma level, this is the RBC level, this is the white blood cell count, this is the platelet level, and also you must be able to tell us does that person has hepatitis, which of the hepatitis, so that because if these people have it, you will not put them in your production, or because by virtue of error of omission, they can introduce a contaminant into your product. After that, we look at your finished product. We will pick sample of your finished product. We take a lab. If you have an indoor lab, we tell you to test your product in line with the requirement of your standard. Let me give an example. For water alone, you have like 20-something, more than 20-something parameters. So if you don't have lab, you have to take it to an IPAM certified lab. anywhere. In Ibadan, there are IPA certified lab. There are also stone certified lab in Ibadan here that you can take your blood to. They will test in line with X-ray standard. You are expected to buy those X-ray standard. For example, for water now, the standard is less than 10,000 naira. For chin now, the standard is less than 10,000 naira. So you buy all these products, and once you produce your product, you take it to an external lab. They will help you check the parameters in line with the requirement of the standard. I want you to understand, it's not SOM that says this is the requirement. It is a consensus agreement between the manufacturer and the academic community. Both of them agree. Ours is just to mediate and document whatever they agree, so when we get to the field, we will enforce. Because at times, challenge their core. The academic community is saying this. The industrial player, they are saying different things. They will not be challenged. What do we do? Many times, we tend to listen to both of them and look at the same level, then agree on that same level, then we formulate the standard so everybody can be on the same page. And we will not formulate standard in favor of party A or party B. We formulate standard that is comfortable so that every industrial player will work successfully so that they can maximize their dream and goal. After that, we look at how do you store your product. That finished product of yours, how do you arrange it? What is the sensitive nature of your product? If your product has enzyme, what are the tolerable levels? How do you want your product to be stored? Let me give an instance. Now, some of those products you see outside, the manufacturer did not intend that his product should be sold under direct sunlight. But because of the logistic issue, I told you as a manufacturer, the problem, once you are conceptualizing your idea, please conceptualize logistics. Because the greatest problem you face as an SME is not the design of your product, it is the distribution of your product. But the greatest problem you face as an SME is the distribution of your product. So first of all, when you are designing your product, look at your environment, the population spread of your environment. What is the likely population in the next few years? Let me give an example. If you, since as you are everybody's GENSPARK, if in your environment you have teenage people, teenage ladies, teenage people in your environment, the meaning is, as an entrepreneur, you should be envisaging that the product, if you want to be in that community, the best product for you to go to venture is children product, because in the next 5 years or 10 years, the population spread will be for children. Because currently, once you have, as you are considering the idea, there are high number of teenage people. So you give them 5 years, they will be through with their education, they will want to marry, and Nigeria by design currently we are highly fertile compared to our counterparts in the world. Are you getting it? So you design your product in line of the population spread in that your locality. Because if you did not, you are exposing yourself to logistic challenge. Because if you design a product that is far outside the consumption level of your community, you have challenge as an SME. Because when you have to go there, I'm targeting Lagos market. How do you want to move your product from here to Lagos market? I remember to Lagos market, I also producer. That idea that you have in your brain, 1,001 person also have that same idea. You are also a producer. So how do you want to? So that's why you have to concentrate on your immediate community. How do you serve them better? You also have to understand as an entrepreneur what is the income distribution of your locality. An income distribution will determine how you design your product. because you cannot give a technology, you cannot design a product with a technology outside the income distribution of your community. You also have a problem because your cost of production will be higher than what you can sell. Let me give you an example. There is this liquid cleaner that come into existence in early 2000. There was one that I met growing up. Now, if you produce cleaner that they use to wash white, I am not mentioning it, please don't mention it. If you produce any liquid cleaner or white cloth, are you getting me? If you produce it before the year 2000, you can sell. But since the year 2000 that this company has come, it's difficult for you to sell. Because this company, in their conceptualization of Nigeria, they have looked at the newcomer into the industry and they have designed their products to accommodate for price war. They are freezing you out of the market. Just if you produce that liquid cleaner, you just saw that the cost of your production is more than what the retail person, that mala in your area, is selling that product. You will not be able to produce. But other products, but if you look at your liquid wash, you can sell. Because when they are designing their product, they did not consider the new entrance into the industry. So you can still survive, you can still push, take care of your need. But that company that is in charge of producing cleaner for your white and washing your white, he has, in his design, he has eliminated you from the business. So he has made the entrance to that sector of the economy extremely difficult. So you as a producer, you must look at that environment, the financial spread of the people living in your environment. So you will tailor your production in line with that. Now, what we look at all this, we look at how you store your warehouse. We have seen who are your distributors. Who are you selling to? What are their capacity? How often? What is your own production capacity? All this we will get. Now when we get this, then if we are satisfactory, okay, we look at the environment, your environment, because you cannot be producing and you have a dirty environment, you have cobwebs all around the place, you have problem with SOS, you start having cobwebs, environment, there are hazards, or you don't have fire extinguisher, you don't have food first aid box in case of any emergency. When your first aid box, you don't expect anything that look like drug to be in your first aid box. Your first aid box is just minimal equipment to address hurt, no drug, because we have observed that Gen Z are very, very innovative with drugs. They know how to abuse it. They know how to turn common paracetamol to become an intoxicant. So we don't allow any drug to be in the first aid box. So once we get all this information, we take it, then we give you a feedback so that coming to your facility today, these are our observations. In this area, you do fine. The layout of your factory is satisfactory. The ambient, the work environment, humidity, it's satisfactory. Your production flow is okay. The quality of the product will take it to the lab for analysis. Now, we will now tell you that you buy our Manca form. Now, to buy this Manca form costs 5,000 naira. You buy this form, you fill your information, company name, product address, list of your distributors, and basic requirement, quality requirement with respect to your product. Mind you, in packaging, we have a particular standard for labeling and packaging. You see, why X-ray is unique is this. Whatever we are telling you, that person in Ghana, if we are telling you keep to this requirement, that person in Ghana is also keeping to the requirement. That person in Burkina Faso is also keeping to the requirement, because you have a trade treaty between Nigeria and West African states that any product that is certified okay by SON, you can transport it to any West African sub-region. Now, once you meet this requirement and you fill our markup form, then and you produce external analysis report. Now, in our labeling information, we expect your name, your product name, your brand name. There is a clear distinction between a product name and a brand name. Product name, soft drink. Brand name, Coca-Cola. Brand name, Fanta. Product name, liquid cleaner. Brand name, Hypo, Jik. Are you getting it? So you should be clear of your product name and your brand name. It is your brand name you take to trademark for registration. It is your brand name you take to trademark for registration. And once you register that brand name, nobody can use that brand name. Are you getting me? The reason is, you may decide to start small, but you have a vision. Now, but actually, I told you the first time that ideas of yours, every other person has the idea. Not just that every other person has the idea. There are people that have money in banks. They are looking for where to invest the money. All they need is a reliable and sustainable channel. So if you don't protect your product, our idea, those money bags will come and invest in your idea with that your consent, and it will be a thing of legislation. Whoever has the trademark is the owner of the product. So if you think that idea, you are passionate about it, is going to take you places, then you have to patent that idea. Now, on the labeling requirement, you have to also state the nutritional requirement of your product. In this, once you have taken this nutritional requirement, you have to be objective with yourself. Don't copy. Tell us what is in your product. Tell us what the laboratory says your product are. Don't go and look at your competitor that is declaring it, you are also declaring it. If you are not using preservative, if your competitor is using preservative, don't go and declare, because laboratory tests will show. If you are using antibiotics, maybe you are a farmer, you are using antibiotics for your product, please state it. If you do not state it, laboratory tests will show. So state what the laboratory tells you and the value that your product are. That is what you state. You know? In packaging, you have like 3 layers. You have the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary packaging material. All this, you have to state your labeling information in a manner that everybody can read it. Don't use a font size that people cannot read. The essence of labeling is people should be able to read it. Let me also give you, among the responsibility of excellence is that we see ourselves as a double mediator who mediate in trade war dispute. Let me give you this common sense idea you should use. Listen, once you buy a product, the only time I agree you are buying a product is when you have been given a receipt, not when you pay for the product. Pay for the product does not mean you have purchased the product, not until they give you receipt. Because if you think once you pay, you are buying the product, if you take that product home, the product does not meet your requirement, there will be an issue. If you come to me The thing I will ask you is, where is the receipt for that product? Please don't show me evidence of payment, because the man that sell that product to you might tell you he dash you the product. He might tell you it is a souvenir. But once you have a receipt for that product, then it's incumbent on me to ensure that you have value for your money, because it is your receipt that is what I will use to seek for redress with respect to your product. Mind you, our duty is this. The core function of SN is that you and your competitors were mediating between you, that everybody should do fair practice and your consumer should be satisfied for whatever they are paying for. Thank you.
Dr. Dollar Entertainment.
Pem pem, ijelebe, pem pem, ijelebe, pem pem.